Okay. Okay, we'll be starting in a moment. Okay. Alright, with that, let us now begin, shall we? Good evening, everybody. This is Xenonite XE6 here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. This is part 16 of my Let's Play of this game. And so in the last part, oh boy, there was a lot that went down. We did the second part of the trial, and we got to meet the police department chief, Mr. Damon. And we did a very, very long investigation where we found... So, a lot went down the last part. If you haven't checked out the last part, part 15, I recommend you guys go check that out because, oh boy, there was a lot that went down during the investigation because they did the entire... Uh-oh. Internet connection. Okay, I'm not sure if the live stream's going to cut off because it says the internet connection quality is currently not sufficient to broadcast gameplay. So I'm going to give it a minute before I do anything because of that notification. I might have to restart the stream in a moment just in case because I don't know if it's going to cut off. So let me go to my live stream thing real quick. And you guys can hear me ramble for a little bit before we get to what we're going to get to. So, okay. I gotta say, like I said, I have no idea what we're going to expect in this part today. Oh boy. It's going to get nuts. So I have no idea what to expect. Because this is going to be, oh my goodness, probably one of the most craziest episodes probably yet. And oh boy, it is going to get crazy. So, right now, my current prediction, I'm still guessing that Jake Marshall could be the possible culprit. I was kind of predicting if it's either him or Angel. And based on the investigation process, I don't think Angel is the culprit. But you may never know, the game could change. But anyway, everything should should be all good. So, yeah, I had to check real quick just to see if my live stream is still going good. It is, okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get started on episode 5, part 3 of the Trial Former. This is going to get interesting. So like I said, I don't know exactly what is going to happen on this part, but I guess we're going to find out soon enough. Alright, enough of that. Turn off my phone. Anyway, let us go ahead and begin. And like I said, I will be doing some voice acting, so... But let me review the evidence real quick. Yeah, so these are some of the new evidence that we've got. And of course, this and this. And we also got this. And the victim's shoe, which might play out later on. And also we have Marshall's fingerprint. So like I said, Jake Marshall could be the only other possibility right now, unless this trial throws another curveball. And I'm not sure if this is the last part of the trial before episode 5 ends. I don't know, we'll have to see. Let's get to it. So what do you think, Mr. Wright?
I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all,
the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed.
I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning.
We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are.
Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall.
What kind of trace evidence?
Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you?
In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall?
We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye?
Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. February 24th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 9. And if you're wondering who the other person is that they arrested, it was Officer Meekins.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is.
I'm afraid you'll have to clarify.
It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time.
But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared.
Yes, the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Wow, this is one messed up trial.
One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder of the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself.
Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself.
That's supposed to be an admirable trait. Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand.
For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department.
The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go.
Looks like Officer Meekins is first.
Will the witness please state his name and occupation?
Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is, sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A person... Oh, jeez. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir.
Officer Meekins.
Yes, sir.
Give us your report of the crime. Consider that in order.
Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir.
You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Crime report, sir. Okay, this is the first one, the crime report.
Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto the to others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir.
That's his microphone thing.
Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need to hear is more info to work with.
Okay. Okay, I'll save here. Cam, it's still the first game. That was just my brother. Anyway, let's move on. Let's press him for details.
Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes, now there's a scary thought.
Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks, not ordinary performed.
I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room.
Tell us, what did you see when you got there?
Suspicious individual.
In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card. Am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is! I found it! This is the one right here! Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh? But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice.
Oh, yeah, now I can see it.
Please explain, witness.
It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see, so it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen.
Okay. Okay, so I'll save since the evidence has been updated.
So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife. Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand.
Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be.
When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. What exactly do you mean when you say you did it, and you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir! About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right.
According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30.
He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. It's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim?
He's got a point.
Let me save just in case. Because I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Yes, Officer Meekins. With regard to that, sir. Take a look at this. Sent to my jail cell. Chief Damon delivered it to me just this morning, sir.
The chief
delivered it? What is that? Videotape? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
Uh-oh. What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased.
That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well, then let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder. Just what were we getting ourselves into?
I guess we're going to find out about the video. Okay, there's the Blue Badger. Here's Goodman. Well, something dropped. Okay, there's Meekins. But is it going to show exactly what happened?
Oh.
Okay, so Meekins attacked Goodman, and Goodman attacked Meekins with a knife. Even Edgeworth's confused.
Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood?
Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly?
Okay, so we got new evidence.
Yes, well anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter, someone in the evidence room, and some sort of, activity did take place.
Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir, as you wish, sir.
Mystery man.
His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. What's this about a fingerprint?
Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to.
Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start.
Mystery man. Okay. This could get interesting. Let's press him first.
Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter? The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh, yes, sir. But I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see. Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I bet my badge on it.
Well, let me check something for a minute. Let me check this thing again. There's a mystery number over there, 7777777. Still kind of questioning who that other person is. Guess we'll find out soon enough. Okay, let's move on to this one.
But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or...
Meekins. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify.
Yes, sir.
You claim the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him.
About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir. And this too. How do you know that information? I've heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir.
For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source.
So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video. The man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir. Please do. After all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand and tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can't testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie.
That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it.
Mr. Wright, let's check the core record again.
Is there a problem with the security video?
Let's see. Flag was on.
Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction?
Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth.
I propose we have the defense point out to use this alleged contradiction in the video.
You would want me to point it out? Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of.
Okay, time to save.
I have to point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that.
You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing.
Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman?
Yeah, he just opened the door.
The thing that's strange about this video, would have to be, this. Hold on a second. I need to use my eye drops. Well, I don't get it. Would you mind if I borrow your eye medicine? Don't look at me with...
Before your eyes get too teary, perhaps you should think this through again.
Now what do I do?
Play the video again. Hold up. The light.
The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint, if it's a match. The light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture.
Yeah, the light is on even when the locker is closed.
When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime.
But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered.
Save here. Let's continue.
And the locker is automatically locked.
Oh, I know. It must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
Oh, well, it just goes to show you. A show novice should keep their mouth shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator?
Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor?
Something? Jam the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video.
Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage.
Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Oh.
Okay, so we already got that one down.
Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier.
had to be the glove, because the glove would be the other piece of...
What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll a great distance when I open my car when... We can't be sure. That item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
Excuse me. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me,
but the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door.
Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be insulator.
Yes, insulator. But at the crime scene,
there just might have been something that fits the description.
But sir, by insulator, you don't mean...
I think I finally got this figured out.
Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck on the locker door?
I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure if that was in the victim's locker.
It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so, sir. Order, order, order. So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Do not be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this.
What?
Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Sir? Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony.
Okay, so this is the final testimony against Meekins. Mystery Man 2.
There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. An ID card record, I see.
I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim.
Just before the crime. Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there a few people using this room?
This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases.
Special cases?
Extremely violent cases involving police staff.
Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end.
Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference.
There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleaned up by noon.
Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination.
Okay. Right. There has to be a way that wasn't Goodman.
So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the V for victory sign, sir.
Couldn't he just use his right hand for that?
Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. Is that card hanging from your neck one of V's ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time, it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone.
At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this.
Please proceed with your testimony. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman. What's the matter? According to this, Miss Redcliffe, your name is on here.
So it is, Your Honor.
Not the prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide the evidence. Mummy, is that man in blue a murderer?
Shh, don't stare at him. You've got the wrong color, kid. It would seem the inquiry community will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him.
Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Wright, what do you think?
I'm confused.
What?
The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show him what we've got. Okay. So now I gotta point out... At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Okay, be safe. It has to be the last one that's wrong. So now I gotta show evidence. Okay, there's a ton. First try the fingerprint. Okay, nope, it wasn't the fingerprint. I was just making sure. Just to be on the safe side. It's not this one, because we already used that one. It's not the jar, because I don't think that comes into play yet. What about the evidence room floor plans? Okay. Oh wait, what if it was the ID card? Let me try that. Okay, it was.
Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. lost item report. It's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right?
I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order, order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
And it had to be Jake Marshall. If I had to guess.
Order, order, order. Does the prosecution have a response?
I have only one thing to say to the defense.
Okay, here we go. What is it, Edgeworth?
Bravo, Mr. Wright.
Bravo.
Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright?
Yes. What's he up to?
That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murderer in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder.
That is... Well, I guess that's right.
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around.
This isn't going to end well.
Well, it seems you finally realize exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So
the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness.
Enough.
Observe the moment the defendant used the murder weapon.
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, we now know Meekins is innocent.
I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins' encounter? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... Oh, wait. And let me make sure I didn't skip anything, because I wasn't sure if I skipped it. Okay, no.
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess?
Object.
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor.
What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven.
Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap.
What are you talking about?
This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder.
We do know that for a fact.
However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident.
This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand.
Mr. Wright, do you mean...
Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room.
The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well, then. Mr. Wright, this person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Take that!
Officer Jake Marshall.
Why him?
I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say.
The prosecution agrees to the defense request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
We will, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
February 24th, 11:32 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What do you mean?
You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out.
I haven't figured anything out.
Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma.
You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you.
I don't recall ever asking for his protection.
How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later.
Poor Gumshoe.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I ask?
Okay. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request.
My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SO9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SO9 incident?
But Lana, that's...
I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe you. The Chief Prosecutor were a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness?
Files for the Joe Dark killing solved 2 years ago.
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name in here?
What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident... Is that...
That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings.
The Joe Darky? No, No, Lana. That's over with. No.
Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence.
Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck.
I'd better take a good look at this file.
To be continued. Wow, this is really going longer than expected. Trial ladder. February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. And Emma's gone. Okay, let's continue then.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Me pardon? Oh, I'm just a man same as you, wandering the trials of civilization.
Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it.
Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out.
To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind? I never heard Edgeworth described that way before.
Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime, on the day the crime took place. Is this correct?
According to the papers, partner? What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sand. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
Day of the crime. Okay, this is going to be tricky. I have no idea exactly how this is going to go. But let's just get to it. Let's start with the day of the crime.
My job was to keep a weary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time when it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras in the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks in the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of new fangled dune hickories are those?
He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines. Or with following orders.
Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
This is going to be tricky. Because Jake could potentially be the true killer behind Goodman's death. I think I should press him first.
How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings.
You interred them?
Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'll erase the tape.
If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours.
Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There's a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired?
Hold on, wait a minute. There's the number 7777777. What if that's Jake's ID? Okay, I'll think about that in a minute. Let me keep pressing him.
You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite, incredible.
The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's Vongol Spia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not at all, desperados. Ate tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is unusually where Edgeworth says, Did you not want to raise this here? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I better up the ante.
Oh yeah, because I don't want to show my trump card too soon, the fingerprints. Oh, wait, no, that is not what I want. Okay, that is not what I wanted. Okay. Okay. Let me first try this part. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Maybe it's the ID card record, because the number 7, because those 7 sevens seems to be something here. Okay, no, it was not that. I was wondering if it was, because... Okay, let's see. Wait, what if it was that videotape? Okay, it wasn't the videotape. Niall Marshall. Let's see. The victims were Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Niall Marshalls. Okay, wasn't the evidence files for the SL9 incident. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show that yet. Fingerprints? Oh, okay, I gotta show the fingerprints. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here? Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away. However, Luminio test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime.
Okay, now we gotta figure out why he was in the evidence room. Blood-stained fingerprints.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it.
Okay. I think I might know what it is, but I'm gonna press him just in case. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even ever knowing it. Okay, so that evidence is updated. We'll save because that's an updated evidence. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's type of murder.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this.
Hold it!
How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports.
There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place her hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the bazaars. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner?
Hold up. Video. Try to look carefully real quick. Let me press it.
What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime? Isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates... Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall.
Maybe the blood stain?
Take that!
There! How's that for evidence?
Please allow me to apologize for my colleague, Your Honor. He gets carried away sometimes.
Yes, well, this certainly isn't a first.
Will you forgive him too, Officer Marshall? He's not a bad man, just a bit delusional.
Of course. I'm not one to gun down on armed boys. Oh, great. Now Edgeworth is defending me. Guess that means I missed the mark.
Okay, so it wasn't the blood stain. So it has to be something else. Wait, was it... Maybe it had to be the glove again. Let's see. Was it the glove? Okay, no, it wasn't the glove. I was making sure if it was, because basically... Let me save here. Okay. So it wasn't the glove. Maybe the knife? Okay, it wasn't a knife. There has to be something that contradicts Marshall. His hand? Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Okay, I knew this trial was going to be tricky, so I knew this was going to be tricky. I'm just trying No, I don't want to save. I'm just trying everything I can in this one. Ivory has to show up in the end. What was the locker? Oh my gosh. This is going to be bad. Okay, this is probably going to take me a while. I know we'll get through it. It's hard to pinpoint what part of the video could be evidence. Oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do here? Like, what is this evidence that points to the culprit with Jake Marshall? It wasn't the glove. Oh, wait, what did I do? Oh my goodness, I pressed the wrong button. That was not what I wanted. Okay, that was a mistake. That was my own fault. Click the wrong button. Ugh. Arg. I'm doing so bad at this. Oh my goodness. I'm doing so bad. Maybe it was the hat? This trial is so hard. It's not the badger. That would be so funny if it was. I hope I don't have to look this up and see what the correct evidence was, because I don't want to look it up. I don't want to look it up. I don't want to see what was the correct answer. I want to keep trying and see if I can figure this out. Is it because the lockers opened? You have gotta be kidding me. It's not correct either. Oh, jeez. What have I got myself into? Okay. Oh my goodness, this is already taking forever. Oh, jeez. Okay. Maybe it had to be during that fight with Meekins. Oh, wait. Was it because of Meekins' hand? Oh my goodness. Are you serious? I don't want to look it up. I don't want to look it up. I don't want to look it up and see what the correct answer was. I want to... Hold up. No, back. Back! Maybe it was... Oh no. Belt? As a silly... Okay, that was completely stupid of me to pick that as evidence. Oh my goodness. Okay. Depending on how many more times I'm getting this wrong, I might have to look it up. I know I don't want to look it up, but I might have to at some point, depending on where I'm supposed to go with this. I know it's probably clear as day, and I'm probably just missing this entire thing. And people are going like, it's over there, you dummy! Wait a minute. Go back. I think I know what it is. It has to be at the end. That just showed up. I was right, because that thing did not appear for the entire video up until the end. That was why. So, oh my goodness.
Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less?
Very well.
You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video.
Yeah, it was at the very end before the video ended.
That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe.
Now then, let's rewind the video a bit.
Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Excuse me.
Order, order! It would seem that's the only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know.
Oh, I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
Oh, yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker? Now prove it. You can talk the talk, alright, but you got a long ways to go before you can walk the walk.
Okay, let me try again. So if Phoenix is saying that if Jake Marshall doesn't know, could this mean Bruce Goodman might have actually... Let me skip these parts again and I'll save at a certain part. Let me save at this part. Oh wait, I'll save at this part because he goes, I call your bluff. Okay. Okay, whenever he does that, it means I get it wrong.
Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that didn't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? got one word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Well, hey, please answer the question. What is he now? Bullfighter? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. Save real quick. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer.
That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? That's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video was Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Objection!
But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed a detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he knew for sure.
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on the ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Oh, you've got quite an imagination, partner. We've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do?
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me.
Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box.
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But
Rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker, according to the defense argument. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot.
Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
Okay, so this is it. It has to be the blood stain. This has to be it.
For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. Yet? However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, you were only half as persistent then as you are today. We all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. All right. It seems the time has come.
Marshall's confession.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation.
Okay, let me save real quick. Okay, I gotta press him a few times in order to figure this out. Let's see.
When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner?
The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day.
Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case leads detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I...
Hold it!
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera?
And the detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself.
But you could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
Hold it!
You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about his race this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and...
Okay, 2 more.
So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't leave long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day...
Hold it!
But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
So you stole the evidence from the locker?
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country.
What is going on?
Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
Hold it!
But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Dorek was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can't say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
But remember the Joe Darkey case. It involved serial murders, didn't it?
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident?
Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files.
Okay, so it has to be... Let me save real quick, because I did press... Okay, it has to be the SL9 incident files.
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims, Niall Marshall. Are you related to this man? Niall Marshall?
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago,
he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor?
Oh, so Jake Marshall's brother is a prosecutor himself.
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Niall Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you?
He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Darkey. My brother fought Darkey and was killed. That was the first time Darkey left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Darkey. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Scott. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner.
All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office, the only suspect is Lana Sky, and the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have responded, make it a single word or less.
Ugh.
He says, I rest my case. Takes a bow.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Hold it. Emma! Your Honor, wait.
Emma!
The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Miss Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Darky killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find did you find something? Better say first.
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is you're grasping this, right?
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn out on there?
Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense is simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
The jar?
As they say back west, even a blind man can hit with buckshot. That is, so long as he's facing the general direction.
It seems Mr. Wright's not sure which direction to face.
It's no use.
Okay. I gotta try every evidence. Okay. Which item? The switchblade knife? Okay. What's missing? Thought it would be the trophy real quick. Okay. I've already tried this one. I've already tried this one. I've already tried that one. I've already tried this one. The screwdriver? No, it wasn't the screwdriver. Okay. I've already tried that one. That was wrong. Try that one. The fingerprint. Nope, wasn't that. Okay. What was it? Okay, what item was missing? The knife? I'm just trying out every piece of evidence I have. Oh, wait. Wait. Maybe it was the coat. Oh, I thought it was the crime photo. Okay. The memo? Autopsy. That's not right either. This is going to be another long episode, guys, so you guys may want to bear with me. Oh my goodness, we are this close. Okay, wasn't this one, wasn't that one, wasn't this one. Let's try this one. I'm just trying every evidence. Okay. There's no way it can be the badger. Wait, what?
What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger, mascot of the police force. Defendant of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What?
Oh my goodness, I think we got him.
So that means... just exactly what does that mean?
Can't believe it was the Blue Badger. Well, I should have realized it sooner, but I wasn't... I guess I was thinking too hard it was other evidence.
It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think of it scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark
was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occurred, as Mr. Edgeworth said? Proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Maybe it was the jar, because that was covered in blood.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? This is the proof. It's quite simple, you see. If it's so simple, then don't get it wrong.
What? It wasn't the jar? I was so certain it was the jar. Okay, I gotta show something else. It's not the switchblade. Oh, come on. Man, this episode 5 is really gonna be a long episode, is it? Jeez, why is it so difficult? Okay. I'll get all the pointless evidence out of the way. No, it's not the blue badger again, but, you know. Okay, come on. I really need to finish this up. Come on! Let's go. Let's see. What haven't I tried yet? Goodman's note, Lana's cell phone, parking lot floor plans. The shoe? Okay, I was making sure it was the shoe. Okay, the note. Because I'm trying every evidence. I'm trying every piece of evidence. I am just rambling. Let's see. Mr. Edgeworth is right. It's like, how many more times are you going to get this wrong? Okay, it wasn't any of these. Yeah, I am just scrambling for every evidence. I am just picking out evidence. I've already tried the jar, so the jar won't count. And I thought it was the jar because it would make sense because it was also covered in blood, unless it's going to be talked about later. Man, this could be the longest episode of the first game yet. Okay, so it's only down to these here. Okay, it's not the evidence from floor plans. What about the glove? Okay, it wasn't the glove. Wait. The ID records? Oh, because of the numbers.
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me.
Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminal tests that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one of her card number remaining. 777-7777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room since there's no record of his card being used beforehand? He must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present.
What? Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your foreign Gs. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question.
Yes.
No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for the trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. Oh my goodness, what is going on? At least, I did.
Lana?
I became a prosecutor in order to surpass crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't?
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence. Uh-oh.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
No!
Order! Lana's remark caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day.
Okay, so that means there's one more person. Whoever has all 7 sevens is the true culprit of the case. February 24th, 3:12 p.m., Wright & Co. Law Offices.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said.
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Darky killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings, but me.
Lana wanted Darky convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Darky's last victim was Prosecutor Niall Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, He left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night Prosecutor Niall Marshall was murdered, Joe Darkey tried to kill me. So he was trying to kill Emma, and Lana tried to protect Emma. That was why they had to forge evidence, because Lana was trying to protect her sister. That makes sense.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Niall, was only trying to save me.
So that means you...
Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Darkey trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
Okay. And as much as I want to ask Emma what happened, we're going to have to save that for the next part. Holy crap. That was just insane. So the good news is, we know that Jake Marshall was in the evidence room. So we did solve that part. But there's someone else involved in the murder. Oh my goodness, that means we're in the home stretch. Let me see. So that means there's one more person we have to find, basically. So we now know that Angel Starr and Jake Marshall did not kill Bruce Goodman. Oh boy. I cannot believe my ears right now. So the evidence was forged. And now it seems that now we now know that we now need to solve whatever mysteries were left unsaid in the SL9 incident. Oh my goodness gracious. That means we have one more investigation process, one more trial run to go in order to prove Lana's innocence. So that means there's only one more person left, but the only person is someone who's in the higher ranks, and is someone that is a true killer. And they had to do it, and Edgeworth entered the evidence room 20 minutes after Bruce Goodman's death. So that would mean Bruce Goodman would have to be killed off probably at 4:20 p.m. in the afternoon, 20 minutes before Miles Edgeworth entered the room. Oh my goodness, that is a lot to take in. And I'm actually kind of shocked that Lana actually revealed. So it looks like Miles wasn't the only one that was trying to get this killer convicted. Lana did too. Now I think we're going to find out her reasonings about that probably in the next episode during the investigation process. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe what I am hearing right now. This is just insane. This is just insane right now. And I think out of all the games that I've done as a Let's Play so far, and out of all the games I played, this one is really breathtaking. Because you never know what to expect in the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. But oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, I guess we now know that Officer Jake Marshall's is not the killer. I thought for certain he was. I had a feeling. But it looks like he's not the killer. So that means he's completely innocent. So that means someone else could have killed Bruce Goodman. Oh boy. I want to do the investigation now, but I'm going to save that for the next part. So I think there's probably going to be 2 more things left to do, I think, in this episode, Rise from the Ashes. first, the investigation, which we're going to do in the next episode. And then the trial we'll probably do in part 18. Or we'll probably do both of them on the same video. I don't know exactly. Or maybe I'll just save the trial video for part 18, and then I'll do and while I'm doing the investigation part for part 17. Oh my goodness. And what time is it right now? 12:28 a.m. Okay. 12:28 a.m. Okay. As much as I want to figure out what goes down in this whole investigation thing, I'm going to save that for the next part of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. So guys, with that being said, that is going to be it for part 16 of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Oh my goodness, guys. We are getting closer to the end of episode 5, Rise from the Ashes. We are getting so close to the end. We are almost at the end of this first game of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. And I hope you guys are really enjoying this Let's Play so far. So far, I've really been enjoying doing this as a Let's Play. There are so many twists and turns I did not expect at all. That is really crazy. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this episode of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. I really hope you guys are enjoying this Let's Play as much as I am. And there is going to be many more videos of this game yet to come. And in the next part, we're going to be doing hopefully the final investigation for this episode, Rise from the Ashes. So in the next part, we're going to get more info of the SL9 incident. And we're going to be trying to figure out what these people know, what Lana knows, what Emma knows, what Officer Jake Marshall knows, and everyone else. I mean, I know we got a little bit of evidence here and there about it, but holy crap. Like I said, in the next part, we're going to be doing probably the final investigation of the first game anyway. So you guys do not want to miss what's going to happen on the next part of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Oh boy, this is going to get crazy. So guys, you do not want to miss what's going to happen on the next part of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Can we try to see if we can continue to prove that Lana Skye is innocent? We will find out soon enough. So like I said, next time we're going to be doing the investigation once again for the third time. Oh my goodness, this is going to be insane. Alright, anyway, it's getting late. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up right here. So, until next time, this is Xenoknight XE6. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys in part 17 of my Let's Play of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. And I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, farewell and have a good night.